Picture this, a smoky backroom in Hollywood, whispers bouncing off the walls, and one name repeated over and over again, Diddy. But this time, the whispers aren't about music, parties, or billion-dollar deals. They're about control, and the shocking role comedian Kevin Hart might be playing in it. Fans everywhere are losing their minds after Dave Chappelle, known for his raw honesty and zero-filter comedy, allegedly exposed why Diddy personally picked Kevin Hart to be his so-called handler. Yes, you heard that right, handler. The word alone has sent shockwaves through the entertainment world, with insiders claiming it's deeper, darker, and far more personal than anyone imagined. According to sources close to the situation, this isn't just celebrity drama. This is a tangled web of power, loyalty, and betrayal at the highest levels of Hollywood. And Dave, he's not holding back. Rumors say he's been sitting on explosive information that could change the way people see both Diddy and Kevin forever. What really happened behind the scenes? Why did Diddy need a handler for one of the funniest men in America? And why is Dave Chappelle suddenly risking it all to speak out? Grab your popcorn because this story is about to get wild. It all started one quiet night after a comedy show in Los Angeles. Dave Chappelle, tired but satisfied from another standing ovation performance, was sitting backstage with a few close friends, sipping water and laughing about the crowd's wild reactions. Everything seemed normal until his phone buzzed. The message was short, almost cryptic. "You've seen too much. We need to talk." At first, he brushed it off as a prank. But when the name at the bottom flashed on the screen, Sean Diddy Combs, Dave's smile faded. That's when he knew something wasn't right. Dave had always been cautious about Hollywood circles. He'd spoken before about the dark side of fame, the strange energy behind the glitter, and the way people suddenly acted when the cameras weren't around. But this message out of the blue felt different. According to one of his longtime friends, Dave told them, "It's like they're watching me again, like they never stopped." The friend said he tried to laugh it off, but Dave wasn't joking. Within hours, his security team noticed two unfamiliar black cars parked outside his hotel. Every time he moved, so did they. Over the next few days, strange things began happening. Comedy club bookings were suddenly canceled. Interview requests vanished. Old friends stopped returning his calls. And then came the moment that would pull Dave into one of the strangest stories in Hollywood's recent memory. During a private event hosted by a well-known producer, Dave was introduced to Kevin Hart. Nothing unusual there. They'd crossed paths countless times over the years. But this meeting was different. Diddy was there too, and he made a point of pulling the two comedians together for what he called a special collaboration. Witnesses say the energy in the room changed instantly. Diddy wrapped an arm around both of them and said, "You two are gonna keep each other in check." Real talk. Kevin laughed, thinking it was just Diddy being Diddy, but Dave didn't laugh. He looked straight at Diddy and said quietly, "In check for what?" Diddy just smiled and said, "You'll see." That was the moment, according to insiders, that the so-called handler arrangement began. In the weeks that followed, fans noticed something strange. Kevin Hart, usually known for his busy movie schedule, started appearing wherever Dave went. If Dave was performing in New York, Kevin would suddenly pop up in the audience. If Dave gave a rare interview, Kevin would somehow join the conversation halfway through. It looked friendly on the surface, but those close to Dave said he felt suffocated. One source said, Kevin wasn't just showing up, he was reporting back. He'd laugh, he'd hang out, then he'd disappear for calls no one could trace. The tension between the two comedians began to build. Dave, known for his calm demeanor, started slipping subtle comments into his stand-up routines, jokes that didn't quite sound like jokes. "You ever feel like somebody's watching you, but they're smiling while they do it?" he said during one set in Chicago. The audience laughed, not realizing he was dead serious. Later backstage, he reportedly told another comic, "This isn't paranoia. It's surveillance with a smile." Meanwhile, Kevin was acting strange too. His usual humor seemed forced, almost like he was trying too hard to keep everything light. During interviews, when asked about his friendship with Dave, he would dodge the question or change the subject. Fans began to speculate online, saying something about their relationship felt off. Some even suggested that Kevin was part of a bigger plan, one orchestrated by Diddy to keep tabs on those who stepped out of line. Things came to a head one night in Miami. Diddy hosted one of his infamous after parties, filled with celebrities, producers, and mysterious guests whose faces no one seemed to recognize. Dave wasn't planning to go, but Kevin called him personally. "Bro, you gotta come," Kevin said. "This one's different. Diddy wants to make peace." Against his better judgment, Dave showed up. According to witnesses, the atmosphere was intense. Diddy greeted Dave with a wide smile, handed him a drink, and whispered something in his ear. Whatever he said made Dave's face drop. He placed the drink down untouched and said, "You think I don't know what's going on?" The music was loud, but those close enough said they heard Diddy reply, "You know too much, and that's the problem." The entire room went silent for a split second before laughter erupted, as if nothing had happened. But that silence said everything. After that night, Dave disappeared from public view for nearly 3 weeks. Fans panicked, tabloids speculated, and even Kevin looked worried in interviews. "He's just taking time for himself," Kevin said in one press appearance, but his voice cracked mid-sentence. Rumors swirled that Dave had been pressured to sign something, an agreement, a contract, or worse, a silence deal. Others said he was hiding out in Ohio, avoiding phone calls and cameras altogether. When Dave finally resurfaced, he looked different. Older, sharper, more aware, he went on stage at a small venue and opened with a chilling line. "When they can't control you, they send someone who can." The crowd went quiet. Everyone knew who he meant. It wasn't long before people online started connecting the dots. Diddy's power in the industry, Kevin's sudden closeness, and Dave's cryptic warnings. Social media exploded with theories, hashtags, and conspiracy threads that went viral overnight. But behind the scenes, things were even darker. Diddy wasn't happy about Dave's comments. Insiders claim he called Kevin in for a private meeting at his mansion. The conversation reportedly got heated. "You had one job," Diddy allegedly told him. "Keep him close, keep him quiet." Kevin, frustrated, shouted back, "He's not some puppet man. He doesn't trust me anymore." Diddy slammed his glass down and said coldly, "Then make him trust you again. Whatever it takes." From that point on, Kevin found himself trapped. He didn't want to go against Diddy. Few people in Hollywood did, but he also didn't want to betray Dave. Friends say Kevin started losing sleep, pacing through hotel rooms and questioning everything. "I didn't sign up for this," he reportedly told a close associate. "This is supposed to be about comedy, not control." But by then it was too late. The web had already pulled him in. Diddy's influence ran deep, and Kevin knew it. Every time he tried to distance himself, new deals would appear, offers too big to refuse. "Think about your family," Diddy would remind him. "Think about your legacy." The implication was clear: play along or risk losing it all. As the tension built, Dave began to push back publicly. In one podcast appearance, he dropped another bombshell. Hollywood doesn't just buy your art, they buy your silence. Fans went wild, demanding answers. But the industry stayed quiet. Kevin avoided interviews altogether. Behind closed doors, however, another confrontation was brewing, one that would force all three men to face the truth about what was really happening. And when it finally exploded, no one in Hollywood would ever look at their friendship the same way again. That confrontation began one night at a private comedy showcase in New York. Diddy was in the front row, Kevin was scheduled to perform, and Dave had been added to the lineup at the last minute. No one knew what was about to happen, but by the time the night was over, the laughter would turn into something much darker. And that's exactly where the chaos truly began. The room was dimly lit, filled with laughter and the low hum of anticipation. Everyone knew that whenever Dave Chappelle and Kevin Hart shared the same stage, it was going to be electric. But this time, there was something different in the air, a kind of heaviness that no one could quite explain. Diddy sat front and center, his expression unreadable behind dark sunglasses, even though it was nighttime. People whispered, sensing tension, but no one dared to say anything out loud. Kevin was the first to take the mic. He opened with his usual charm, cracking jokes about fame, family, and the chaos of Hollywood. The crowd roared, and for a moment it felt normal again. But those watching closely noticed that Kevin kept glancing toward Diddy, as if looking for approval. Diddy didn't laugh once. He just sipped his drink slowly and watched. Then Dave's name was called. The crowd erupted. He stepped onto the stage, calm, collected, and sharper than ever. His eyes scanned the room, Past the flashing lights, past the cameras, landing directly on Diddy. For a brief second, it felt like the two were having a silent conversation no one else could hear. Then Dave spoke. "You ever meet someone," he said slowly, "who smiles in your face but has already decided what your next move is going to be?" The laughter came hesitantly, confused. Kevin shifted in his seat. Diddy didn't move. Dave continued. "Hollywood's a funny place, man. They say it's built on dreams, but it's really built on who owns those dreams. And sometimes," he paused, looking right at Kevin, "the person standing next to you ain't really next to you. They're standing over you." The crowd gasped. Kevin forced a smile, clapped awkwardly, and shouted, "You crazy man!" But his voice trembled. After the show, chaos broke out backstage. One witness claimed Dave stormed into the green room and confronted Kevin directly. "You working for him, huh?" Dave said, pointing toward Diddy, who was surrounded by his entourage in the hallway. Kevin tried to laugh it off. "Come on, man, what are you talking about? It's not like that." But Dave wasn't buying it. "Don't lie to me, Kevin. I know what he's been asking you to do." "I know about the meetings." Kevin froze. For a moment, the mask slipped. His voice dropped. "You don't understand, Dave. This is bigger than both of us." That line changed everything. According to people who overheard the exchange, Dave replied quietly, "Then maybe it's time someone told the truth." Diddy entered the room moments later, clapping slowly. "That's what I love about you, Dave," he said with a grin that didn't reach his eyes. "You got heart. Too much heart?" Kevin stepped between them, trying to ease the tension, but Dave brushed him aside. "I'm done playing games," Dave said. "You can't buy me, and you can't control me." Diddy leaned in close and whispered something no one else could hear, but whatever it was made Dave's entire expression change. He walked out immediately without another word. From that point on, everything started unraveling. Reports say Dave flew back to Ohio that same night. The next morning, a strange story appeared online, an anonymous post claiming that Dave was mentally unstable and had alienated friends and business partners. Fans immediately called it out as character assassination, but the damage was done. Within 48 hours, Dave's upcoming projects were suddenly delayed for creative reasons. Kevin, on the other hand, was being photographed everywhere with Diddy. Luxury events, parties, even charity galas, always smiling, always laughing. To the outside world, it looked like business as usual. But those close to Kevin said he was falling apart inside. One of his assistants told a tabloid, Kevin kept saying, "I'm stuck, I can't get out." He looked scared, like he was being watched. Meanwhile, Dave started dropping breadcrumbs. On stage, during interviews, even in offhand remarks, he hinted that there was a secret structure in Hollywood, a system of control where power wasn't just about money, it was about silence. "They don't just want you to perform," he said during one show. "They want you to obey." Audiences thought it was just another Chappelle-style metaphor, but those who knew the backstory realized it was a warning. Then, one night, Dave appeared on a podcast hosted by a close friend. For the first time, he talked about the handler. He never mentioned names, but the clues were obvious. "Sometimes they send someone who looks like your friend," he said. "Someone who talks like you, laughs like you, but they're there for one reason, to make sure you don't mess up their business." Listeners were stunned. Within hours, social media exploded with one phrase: "Kevin is the handler." The internet went into overdrive. Fans dissected old interviews, videos, and public appearances, pointing out how Kevin always seemed to be around when Dave said something controversial. "Look at his body language," one fan wrote. "He's always nervous when Dave starts speaking truth." Another fan posted, "Kevin's not a friend. He's a watcher." The speculation spread like wildfire. Kevin finally broke his silence on social media. He posted a short message. "People love drama more than truth. Stop reading lies," but the post didn't help. Comments flooded in, accusing him of hiding something. Even other celebrities began hinting that there was more to the story. One anonymous comedian tweeted, "Dave wasn't wrong. They really do have handlers." Behind closed doors, Diddy was furious. According to a source in his camp, he ordered Kevin to fix it or face the consequences. Kevin begged for space, saying the situation was out of control, but Diddy wouldn't budge. "You let it slip," he said during a tense phone call. "Now you clean it up." Kevin was cornered. He couldn't betray Diddy, but he couldn't go against Dave either. That's when Kevin made a risky move. He reached out to Dave in secret. Sources say they met late one night in a quiet diner outside Newark, away from cameras and noise. They sat in a booth in the back, both wearing hoodies. "I didn't choose this," Kevin said softly. "He told me I was protecting you, keeping you out of trouble. But now I see it was never about protection." Dave looked at him, tired but calm. "So what are you gonna do about it?" Kevin sighed. "I don't know yet, but I'm done being his puppet." Unbeknownst to them, someone was watching from outside. A black SUV parked across the street. Two men sat inside, taking photos through tinted windows. The next day, both Kevin and Dave started receiving strange calls from unknown numbers. When they answered, no one spoke, just silence, then a click. The pressure was building. Kevin's team told him to stay quiet, avoid the topic altogether. Diddy's camp denied everything, releasing statements calling the rumors ridiculous. But fans weren't convinced. They pointed out how every time controversy surrounded Diddy, the people closest to him either vanished, went silent, or took a break. Meanwhile, Dave started preparing something, a show unlike anything he'd ever done. Close friends say he was planning to go fully public, to name names and tell everything. But he needed proof, and for that, he needed Kevin's help. The two comedians met again, this time in a hotel room in Chicago. Kevin looked shaken. "If we do this," he said, "there's no going back." Dave nodded. "That's exactly why we have to." What neither of them knew was that Diddy had already found out about their meeting. Someone in Kevin's circle had leaked it. And by the next day, a plan was already in motion. One that would pit friend against friend in a way no one could have predicted. That's where the real storm began. A storm that would expose not just personal betrayals, but the dark machinery running behind the laughter. And before it was over, Hollywood would never sound the same again. The next morning, Kevin woke up to a nightmare. His phone was blowing up. Calls from his manager, his publicist, and even producers from ongoing projects. Someone had leaked a story to the press claiming that Kevin Hart and Dave Chappelle were secretly plotting to take down Diddy with false allegations. Headlines screamed that Kevin was turning on his mentor, painting him as disloyal and ungrateful. Within hours, Kevin's reputation took a hit. Brand deals went on hold, movie offers went silent, and a cloud of controversy formed around his name. Dave, on the other hand, saw it coming. When he heard about the leak, he didn't panic. He laughed bitterly. "That's how they play," he told a friend. "You tell the truth, they twist it until you look crazy." But he also knew that this wasn't just about reputation anymore. Diddy was sending a message. "He's reminding us who's in charge," Dave said. Kevin felt trapped. He tried calling Diddy to clear the air, but Diddy didn't answer. Instead, he got a short text. "Loyalty has a price." That single sentence sent chills down his spine. It wasn't a threat exactly, it was a reminder. Diddy was powerful enough to make anyone disappear from Hollywood without leaving a trace. And Kevin knew it. For the next few days, Kevin went underground. No interviews, no social media, no public appearances. Meanwhile, Dave started speaking more openly, almost daring Diddy to respond. During one of his live shows, he dropped another bombshell. There are people in this industry who think they own laughter. They think because they made you rich, they made you. But what they don't understand is, some of us can't be owned. The crowd erupted, cheering, but behind the applause was an unspoken fear. Everyone knew who he was talking about. In a private phone call later that night, Kevin told Dave, "You're pushing too hard, man. They're gonna come after you next." Dave just sighed. "They already have," he said. "But I'm not running anymore." That's when Kevin made a decision that would change everything. He agreed to help Dave, really help him. He said he had proof that Diddy had been orchestrating control relationships with several celebrities, using influence and fear to keep them silent. Kevin said he had recordings, emails, and contracts that could blow the whole thing open. "But if this gets out," he warned, "we're both done." Dave didn't hesitate. "Then let's finish it." But before they could act, Kevin received a call that made his blood run cold. It was from his assistant, crying. "Kevin, they broke into your house," she said. "Nothing's stolen, but everything's moved." That's when Kevin realized they weren't trying to rob him. They were sending a warning. He called Dave immediately. "They know, man. They know we met." Dave paused for a long moment, then said, "Then it's already started." For a long moment, then said, "Then it's already started." Within 48 hours, new rumors began circulating that Dave was mentally unstable again, that he was paranoid, and that Kevin had been trying to protect him from himself. It was the perfect reversal. Diddy's team spun the narrative so that Kevin looked like the loyal friend and Dave looked like the one who'd lost touch with reality. The press ate it up. "Kevin Hart concerned for Dave Chappelle's well-being," one headline read. Another said, "Insiders fear Dave's obsession with conspiracy theories is taking a toll." Dave couldn't believe it. "They're rewriting the story in real time," he said during a late-night call to Kevin. "They're turning the truth into a script." Kevin sounded defeated. "I told you, they control the machine. Once they decide what the truth is, it doesn't matter what we say." Still, Dave wasn't done fighting. He reached out to a few trusted journalists, people who'd covered him for years, and shared bits of what he knew. Not everything, just enough to make them curious. One reporter agreed to meet him in person, but the meeting never happened. The reporter canceled last minute, saying she'd received a call from someone powerful warning her to drop the story. After that, she stopped answering Dave's messages entirely. Meanwhile, Kevin's situation was spiraling. Diddy called him to his house in Miami for what he described as a conversation. Kevin went, nervous but determined to stand his ground. When he arrived, the mansion was dimly lit, music playing softly in the background. Diddy greeted him with a smile that didn't match his eyes. "You've been busy, Kev," he said. Kevin forced a laugh. "Just working, man." Diddy leaned back in his chair. "Working with Dave?" Kevin froze. Diddy smirked. "You think I don't know?" Kevin tried to explain, but Diddy interrupted. "I made you, Kevin. Don't forget that. All those doors that opened for you, who do you think unlocked them?" His tone grew darker. "And I can close them just as fast." Kevin clenched his fists but said nothing. Diddy stood up, pacing slowly. "You're smart, Kev. Stay smart. Stay in line. That's all I'm asking." He patted Kevin's shoulder before walking away, leaving the words hanging in the air like smoke. Kevin walked out without saying another word, but the look on his face said everything. Later that night, he called Dave again. "We can't win this," he said. "He's too powerful." Dave replied quietly, "Then we tell the people anyway." Because silence is how he wins. Over the next week, rumors spread that both comedians were planning something. A tell-all interview, maybe even a documentary. Fans started speculating wildly online. "This is bigger than comedy," one post read. "This is about control, about who really runs the industry." Another fan commented, "If they speak out, Hollywood will burn." Then came the turning point. A leaked audio clip surfaced online, allegedly featuring Diddy talking about keeping comedians in check. The voice was unmistakably his, laughing as he said, "They're like chess pieces. Some make moves. Some get moved." The internet exploded. Hashtags like #Diddy exposed and Free Chappelle started trending worldwide. Fans demanded answers. Diddy's team denied everything, claiming the audio was fake, but the damage was done. Kevin went silent again, deleting his social media accounts. Dave, however, stayed visible. He appeared at a surprise comedy show in Atlanta, and his opening line brought the house down. Funny thing about handlers, they always think they're in charge until the truth goes viral. The crowd went wild, but underneath the laughter there was unease. People could feel something big was coming. That night, Dave received a message on his phone, an unknown number again. It read, "You've gone too far this time." He showed it to Kevin, who was staying with him temporarily for safety. Kevin looked at him and said, "We can't keep running. We need to finish what we started." The next morning, they packed their bags and flew to New York, planning to meet a journalist willing to publish the full story. Names, details, everything. But as soon as they landed, they noticed the same black SUV following them from the airport. It was no longer paranoia. Someone really was tracking them. In the car, Dave looked out the window and muttered, "This is the part they don't show you in the movies." Kevin tried to laugh but couldn't. His hands were shaking. "If we pull this off," he said, "we're never going to be the same." Dave nodded. That's the point. When they finally reached the meeting spot, a quiet restaurant in Brooklyn, the journalist was nowhere to be found. Her phone went straight to voicemail. On the table, where she was supposed to be sitting, was an envelope with their names written on it. Inside was a single piece of paper that said, "They know everything. Leave now." Kevin looked at Dave, eyes wide. "What do we do?" Dave folded the paper calmly and said, "We keep going. They can scare us, but they can't stop the truth." And with that, the two men walked out into the cold Brooklyn night, unaware that the next 24 hours would become the most dangerous and revealing of their lives. The air outside the restaurant was thick with tension. Kevin and Dave didn't speak for several minutes as they walked down the nearly empty Brooklyn street, their footsteps echoing against the concrete. The envelope still burned in Dave's hand. Whoever had left it clearly knew their plan, which meant someone close to them had betrayed them. Kevin stopped suddenly and looked over his shoulder. "You think it was someone on my team?" he whispered. Dave didn't answer at first. He looked around carefully before replying, "Someone told them. Maybe yours, maybe mine. Doesn't matter now. We move smart." They ducked into a side alley and waited for a while, watching the black SUV glide past slowly, headlights sweeping over the walls. When it disappeared around the corner, Dave turned to Kevin and said, "We can't go back to the hotel. They'll be waiting." Kevin nodded, pulling up the hood of his sweatshirt. "So what's the plan?" Dave smiled grimly. "We finish the story, but on our own terms." That night, they went to the apartment of one of Dave's oldest friends, a producer who owed him a few favors. Inside, they set up a camera, dimmed the lights, and began recording. It wasn't a show. It wasn't even comedy. It was two men talking about what they'd seen, what they'd been part of, and what they refused to hide anymore. For nearly 3 hours, Dave spoke first about the strange meetings, the quiet manipulation, and the fear that kept people silent. Kevin added details that made the whole thing even more chilling. The contracts disguised as mentorship agreements, the parties where deals were made behind closed doors, the whispered instructions about who to trust and who to avoid. At one point, Kevin's voice cracked. "I thought he was helping me," he said. "I thought I was earning his respect. But now I see he was using me, using all of us, to keep the system going." Dave placed a hand on his shoulder. "It's not your fault, man. We've all played the game. Difference is now we're done playing." When they finished recording, they sat in silence for a moment. Kevin broke it first. "If we post this," he said softly, "we're done in Hollywood. No more movies, no more deals." Dave nodded. "Maybe. But at least we'll still have our names." They uploaded the video anonymously that night. Within hours, it started spreading, first on small forums, then on social media, and finally into the mainstream. The title was simple: "The Truth About the Industry, from Inside." Fans immediately recognized their voices. The clip was raw, unedited, and explosive. Dave's calm delivery contrasted with Kevin's emotional honesty, and together it painted a picture of control, manipulation, and power unlike anything audiences had heard before. The reaction was immediate and divided. Some fans called them heroes for speaking up. Others said it was all fake, a publicity stunt. But the energy was undeniable. Major news outlets picked it up, demanding statements from everyone involved. Diddy's team moved fast, releasing a statement calling the video an absurd fabrication and threatening legal action. Yet, behind the scenes, something was shifting. Other celebrities began speaking out, subtly at first. A famous actress tweeted, "Sometimes silence isn't loyalty, it's fear." A rapper posted, "Hollywood ain't what it looks like." And then, a director who had worked with Diddy years ago publicly announced that he was done protecting powerful men who hide behind charm. The cracks were showing. Meanwhile, Kevin went into hiding again. He stayed with family, avoiding the media storm. But inside he was torn. He told the truth, yet part of him feared what would happen next. He knew Diddy didn't forgive easily. Dave tried to reassure him during their nightly phone calls. "You did the right thing," he'd say. "Whatever comes next, we face it." But the next blow came faster than either expected. 2 days after the video went viral, Kevin's personal assistant went missing. Her phone was found in her car, still running, parked outside her apartment. No one knew what happened. The news spread quickly, and people online immediately linked it to the fallout from the video. Kevin was devastated. "This is my fault," he said to Dave over the phone, his voice shaking. "She didn't deserve this." Dave tried to stay calm. "Listen to me. This is how they scare people. Don't let them win. Police reports claimed there was no evidence of foul play, but fans weren't convinced. The hashtag I Swear a Sarah started trending, turning into a full-blown online movement. The pressure was on. For the first time, it felt like the world was watching closely, and not everyone was willing to stay quiet anymore. That night, Diddy finally broke his silence. He went live on social media, addressing the controversy head-on. Sitting in a dimly lit room wearing a smooth smile, he said, "I've always supported artists, especially black comedians. These rumors? They're lies made by people who want attention." But the comments section was brutal. Thousands of fans flooded the chat, posting clown emojis, calling him manipulative, demanding answers. It was the first time Diddy's charm didn't work. Dave watched the live stream in silence. When it ended, he turned to Kevin, who was sitting beside him, pale and exhausted. "He's cracking," Dave said quietly. "For the first time, he's not in control." Kevin nodded slowly. "So what now?" Dave smiled faintly. "Now we let the truth breathe." Over the next few days, people began coming forward anonymously. Assistants, producers, even musicians, all confirming parts of Dave and Kevin's story. Every new voice added weight to the growing storm. Hollywood was shaken. Behind the scenes, executives were scrambling, publicists were panicking, and everyone who'd ever worked with Diddy was being asked questions they didn't want to answer. Then came the final twist. An anonymous file appeared online, documents, photos, and emails allegedly connecting Diddy to the very system Dave had described. It was impossible to confirm their authenticity, but the content was explosive. Deals made under fake names, payoffs, and coded messages that hinted at manipulation. The internet dubbed it the Diddy Files. Diddy's legal team immediately called it a digital smear campaign, but the damage was irreversible. His upcoming projects were canceled, major sponsors pulled out, and the world began to see cracks in the image he'd built for decades. Meanwhile, Dave and Kevin stayed silent. They didn't post, didn't speak, didn't appear anywhere. People speculated wildly about where they were. Some said they'd fled the country. Others believed they were preparing another reveal. But those close to them said they were just lying low, waiting for the smoke to clear. Weeks later, Dave finally made a surprise appearance at a secret comedy show in New Orleans. The crowd was small, intimate. When he stepped on stage, people held their breath. He looked calm, grounded, and strangely peaceful. His first words made the entire room silent. "Truth," he said softly, "isn't always safe, but it's always worth it." The audience erupted into applause. Some people even tearing up. At the end of the set, he looked directly into the crowd and added, "Don't believe everything you see on TV. Sometimes the real show happens behind the curtain." It was a quiet mic drop. Not angry, not bitter, just final. Kevin watched the clip online the next morning. He smiled for the first time in weeks. Maybe they hadn't destroyed the system, but they had cracked it open enough for people to see the truth inside. Behind the scenes, Diddy's empire was still standing, but weaker. The industry had shifted. People whispered differently now, more cautious, more aware. Some said Kevin and Dave had changed the game. Others said they'd barely survived it. Either way, the message was clear. Even in Hollywood, where secrets are currency and silence is gold, the truth has a way of finding its way to the stage. And though the world moved on, the echoes of what happened between Dave Chappelle, Diddy, and Kevin Hart lingered, a reminder that not every laugh hides joy, and not every friendship is what it seems. And that, folks, is where the story stands, for now. Dave Chappelle has gone quiet again, keeping his distance from the chaos, while Kevin Hart stays low-key, avoiding interviews and public drama. Diddy, on the other hand, continues to deny every accusation, calling it all made-up Hollywood gossip. But the truth? It feels like the whole world is still waiting for the next move, the next reveal, the next twist in this unbelievable saga. Will Dave ever speak again? Will Kevin finally break his silence and tell the full story? Or will Diddy find a way to bury it all before the world sees what's really going on behind the fame and fortune? Fans are divided. Some say Dave is a hero for pulling back the curtain. Others think Kevin is the real victim, caught in a web he never wanted to be part of. And then there are those who believe the entire industry is just one big illusion, a place where loyalty has a price, and silence is the most expensive currency. Whatever the truth is, one thing's certain, this story isn't over yet. And now, It's your turn to weigh in. What do you think really happened between Dave, Kevin, and Diddy? Was Dave telling the truth, or was this all just Hollywood drama gone too far? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and we want to hear from you. And if you've been hooked from the start, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next chapter in this wild Hollywood roller coaster. Trust us, you'll want to see what happens next.